So how do you go about leveling the bus? Let's walk through it. First of all, the ignition is on the left side in this bus. And once you stick the key in, there's a switch to the left of the ignition that will give you chassis power. And of course, this coach does have a battery tender for the chassis battery. So now that that's on, you'll see a little light flick on in the dash. And it's that little green light. So now we've got power. We'll turn it over, let the wait to start go through. All right, it should be ready to go. Fire it up, and let's let the air pressure build up. So as you can see, the air bags have been holding here. We're gonna get accessory air pressure up. So before you level the coach, you wanna have your accessory air pressure over 90. And what I like to do is, after a couple of minutes, I put fast idle on. You should just button right here with the rabbit. I'm sure you have a fast idle. I don't know if it has the same type of switch. So you've got a rabbit button right there that'll turn fast idle on. And as you can see, accessory air pressure is quickly going up. And once we build to 90, we'll be able to use this button right here to the left of the chair. The green one that says auto level. Oh, my chair is going up. So it's above 90. Coach has been running for enough time to let oil pressure rise and all that and let the oil circulate a little bit. So I'm gonna turn fast idle on. We're gonna build pressure a little quicker. And let's go ahead and auto level. I like to keep an eye out on the accessory air pressure. You don't want it to dip down below 90 during leveling or anything. Let's go ahead and level. So all you do is flick the button that says auto level. And it will flash like that. And you'll feel it level itself up. Oh, you hear it? If it thinks it's level, it won't do anything. But obviously the coach is not perfectly level right now, so it's doing something about it. Once that's done, we'll be able to cut the coach off. By the way, watch the difference when I shut this door. I like hearing that Detroit, to be honest, but I want to show you guys how much of a difference it makes. And now the engine is just kind of... Oh, and you see that? That is the noise you'll hear when it's done and the light has stopped flashing. So it is auto leveled right now. So behind the driver's seat is where our front room slide out control is. Right now you can see the cycle has not been completed. So if I do this, I can hear the locks. And now the locks stop and the light is green. So we're in travel mode. The slide is in. And now we're gonna put the slide out. So you just sit here and hold that until the light turns green again. And that will indicate the cycle is completed and it's in the out position. So right now I can hear the locks. Now the slide is actually going out. And it's pretty cool. When the slide goes all the way out, there's a little piece that actually comes down to make it look flush, make the paintwork look flush. So that's part of what you're waiting on when you're pressing out. So if you're just sliding the slide out for temporary reasons, you pulled over or something, you don't have to hold it until the light turns green. It's not like the slide's gonna fall out or something. So the backup monitor will appear on this screen right here. And you can move it around with this total vision controller. Here's where you can control the brightness of that screen. And this controls the brightness of all your backlighting, your instrument backlighting. And to turn the total vision on, you click this button here on the top left. And to turn it off, we click the bottom left button. And now it's off. Now this right here controls the bus air. So on the left, we have our dash air conditioner control. This is just for up in the dash, your defrosters. And to the right, it says passenger. That turns on the bus air. So all you do is turn it on and you press set to where you want the temperature and it gets your temperature there. It has nothing to do with the cruise airs. This is its own system that runs off the engine and it's a Prevost bus thing that is fantastic. Now up above that, we have our 9-inch screen here. And this has Apple CarPlay, so it'll show your phone screen up there, no problem. Super nice device. All right, so I don't know if you have transmission retarder on your coach, but This is a transmission retarder. So what you do is you turn it on via a switch over here that says R. And then when it's all the way up, it will not engage. So then you can go down and adjust it to however aggressive you want this transmission retarder to be. So all the way down here is the most aggressive position and will stop you the quickest. And every single rung up is slightly less. So it's a really nice system to use if you're just like coming down a hill, you want to keep yourself at the same speed or something. It's an excellent system. But again, all the way up is off, even though the button is on. And one thing about this transmission retarder, if this button is on, you can engage it by coming off the throttle and using this lever. However, if it's on here and this is in the off position, so it will not engage, but then you go to press your brakes, you depress your brakes, it will automatically come on and assist you in braking. Now, if this is off, it won't do that. You will only be able to stop via your brakes. So it kind of, it doesn't come on all the time. It will come on automatically if you have it on. Of course, headlights, fog lights, we've got your docking light controls here. You've got baggage door locks right there, so that's nice. And then your door locks are over on the right. Now, cruise control, these switches right here, so that's cruise, set, and then resume. And of course, decel. So this controls your left mirror. This controls your right mirror. If you turn the dial on either one to the right, it will control the upper hat on your mirror. Turn either of the knobs to the left and it will control the bottom piece of your mirror. Now, your auto leveling is here, of course, but you can manually level the coach or change the level of a coach right here. So you can actually dump the bags and drive it forward. So if you need to clear something, you can dump the bags and leave it in one of this manual modes. So you'll hear that level low light will come on in the dash and you'll hear the beeping. And then of course we have our emergency brake and tag dump back there. And I think that's really all the basics and important bits of the cockpit. Got a CB radio over on the other side. But overall, it's a pretty sweet cockpit. So we're going to talk a little bit about heating and cooling the bus. So besides your bus air, you have 4 cruise airs, 5 electric heaters, and your hydronic heating system. So there's many ways to heat and cool this bus. First of all, let's talk about cooling. So besides bus air, the main way to cool the whole bus is through your cruise air system. So you've got 4 of those. You've got 2 right here, mid right and mid left. You've got 1 in the front, and that's located right behind your driver seat. And you have 1 located in your bedroom, and the controller for it is right by the headboard, which I love. So you can use these systems to cool the coach as well as heat the coach via heat pumps. So it'll reverse the cycle and put heat into your bus. Now, most coaches, you cannot run the heat pumps under 40 degrees or so. However, since most of the compressor system and air conditioning system in general is inside your bays, you've got 2 in the bays, you've got 2 up on the roof that are covered, I would imagine you can run your forward and mid-left air as heat, even under 40 degrees and far below 40 degrees, because all of the system is insulated. However, the main heating system during the wintertime will be, of course, your hydronic heating system. So to use that, you press this diesel heat hot water, and once your AquaHot heater is running, you'll be able to control 2 zones of hydronic furnace heat. So that is your thermostat for the front zone of hydronic heat. And your rear zone of hydronic heat is controlled through this thermostat right here. And that's all those 2 thermostats do, is control hydronic heat. Now this bus is pretty unique as it has about 5 heaters located throughout the coach, electric toe kick heaters. So if you're plugged into shore power at a camp spot and you don't want to burn diesel for some reason, and it's really cold and for some reason you can't run your heat pumps, you can run these toe kick heaters. So those are down here, and you can see those vents right here are for the AquaHot, and these right here are electric toe kick heaters. So that's 1. There's 2 up here. There's another one right there. There's 1 in the half bath. There's 1 in the bedroom in the master bathroom. So you could really contribute to heating the coach with those electric heaters. And you've got cutoffs for them right here. And then there are dial thermostats on each electric heater. So you could run off of power. Now I will warn you that will draw a lot of power. And, you know, but you could use it maybe if you're plugged into a campsite. It's a really cold place and you could help out your aquahot system with the electric heaters. But really, the aqua system doesn't need any extra help, but it's there. So here we go, heater stateroom, heater galley, and some of these buttons kill 1 or 2 heaters each. So you can turn all that stuff on there pretty easily. And you also have your cutoffs for your heaters and the plumbing bays as well. Now right here, you have your main set of breakers. You have phase 1 and phase 2, and this will show you what you're drawing on each phase. You also have a power management system down in the bottom right, and that's actually a really cool system to look into. So you can turn off your outlets in certain areas. You can turn on cruise airs. You can turn on your refrigerators, air compressor, battery charger. You also have a main kill switch for your water pump here. And after turning on your main cutoff to the water pump, then you'll be able to turn on your water pump elsewhere in the coach through the multiplex system. You can also start your generator from here. And this is your freshwater fill, so it does the same thing that the freshwater fill button on the outside does. For instance, if you're hooked into shore water, I have always found in this coach, you have to pump water into your tank and then use that to supply your coach with water. So what I do is you just fill this up and this automatically shuts off, but I'd still keep an eye on it. It'll turn green. When it's on, it'll automatically turn off once it's full. I believe it goes to like 90%. And you have your fresh, gray, and black. So the fresh tank is about 160 gallons, so pretty huge. And of course, you have your generator oil pressure and the water temperature of the generator. You can keep an eye on that. Your 2 inverter controls right here. So the trace controller, you control with this main menu heading. So you can go up and down through here. So your inverter modes, your generator modes. So this has information on trace engineering, their address, and their phone and fax number, which is kind of interesting. You also have your meters. So in here is where you can kind of keep an eye on how much you're drawing, which is pretty nice. You know, I like to keep an eye on what's going on, error causes, stuff like that. So mainly you're going to be playing with inverter mode here. So once you go on to menu headings, you use that to get to inverter mode. You go down through the menu by saying menu item. So you have this menu right here, and then you can go set points. So you can go through here. You always want to leave these on search unless you're storing the coach, of course. Then you turn this off and hit the kill switch on the inverters outside. But anyways, you can go down through here. You can do all kinds of stuff with the inverter, and then you can go down and do the same thing with your generator. Now the one below is a Magnum inverter controller, and this is going to be pretty straightforward. When you're on the road and you got this thing going, you're basically never going to really touch this. It's automatic. It'll stay on search mode. It'll come on when it needs to be, which is basically all the time in a bus like this, as I'm sure you're aware of. But you can kill this if you want just by pressing and holding this inverter button. And then of course we have our SMX controllers right here in the center. And here's something pretty interesting. You have your cutoffs right here for your air conditioners, your cruise airs, mid left, aft, mid right, and forward. So you have those 4 cutoffs right here, but you also have cutoffs up here. So essentially, you could just leave these on all the time. So these are interesting. The cutoff is in, so the button is depressed. That means the cutoff is engaged, and that means it's disengaged. So if those are constantly not touched, you're really gonna have your main breaker controls in the center. It's kind of interesting that there's 2 sets of breakers, but it is nice to have the breakers up front for your driver's seat. So our plumbing bay is right here. So we're just gonna start from the bottom. Both your black and gray come out of here. Your gray is on the right with a silver or gray handle, and your black is on the left with a black handle. Now this little piece comes out, little stainless steel piece, and that's where the actual end of your dump is. You've also got an opening which allows you to let your water hose and 50 amp power cord out of the coach without having to have the door open, of course. Now up above that, we have an outside shower here, and you've got a nice stainless steel hose and shower head. And we've also got a water spigot here, or it's called a hose bib. So you can just plug into this if you want to like wash your coach or just need water or something for any reason. You've got another little outlet there, which is pretty convenient, you know, besides your outside shower. Now up above, we have our black flush and gray flush. So Those are simple. They're just to flush out both of your holding tanks, which are both each 81 gallons. Now up above that, we have our electric heaters. So there is a breaker for these electric heaters in the coach. And to the right of that, we have our aqua hot bay heat. So that is obviously heat that will be coming from a heat exchanger that is heated via the boiler fluid in the aqua hot system. Or your engine, because the aqua hot boiler fluid cycles through the engine, giving you hot water and heating the boiler fluid instead of using the actual diesel burner while you're driving the coach, which means you'll have hot water on the road without having to run any water heating system. Now up here, this is the shore power. I'm gonna wait for this plane to go by. Very busy day here for GSP International Airport. You know, one of the things about this bay door is it looks really cool when it's open. I remember when I took this to the beach, every time I was out here doing something, anyone who walked by would just be staring at this bay because it looks really cool when it's open, especially with this style door. And there's also a freshwater fill button. Now what this button does is it sends the water pressure that you will get from hooking to city pressure using that hose that's on the reel from going into your coach, supplying you with city water pressure, to filling your water tank. So when you're in the coach, if you're connected to water pressure and you just want to fill your tank real quick, you can do it from here or you can do it from inside. You just press that water tank fill button and it will fill it up. And once it reaches about 90%, which is nearly 170 gallons because the freshwater tank is 170 gallons, it will automatically switch the valve back to giving your coach city pressure. So it won't sit there and overfill. How I would recommend running the coach, and of course you might find something else works for you. So this is only in recommendation. Obviously, you know, do your own thing. Everyone has their own methods, and that's kind of one of the fun aspects of owning a bus like this. But anyways, I normally just filled this fresh tank when I was at my spot. I would just let it fill all the way up and then automatically shut off. And then I would use the city pressure in addition to the water pump. So you have to fill your tank every once in a while, but the city pressure that I was getting when I was using this coach was not adequate. I had to fire the pump up, and I think you'll find most campsites will not have enough city pressure to properly operate the toilets and stuff. You need that pressure. Now you also have a gravity fill, and that is super convenient. A lot of high-end coaches don't have that. So this right here looks like a marine stainless steel opening. That's where you can just fill your water tank directly if for some reason your freshwater tank fill button fails. And I really like that fail safe. That's quite convenient and well thought out. Now back there, we have our water hose reel, of course. We also have our 50 amp power cord, which goes up and back there in that little tub. And right here we have our interface with the aqua hot system. So the aqua hot is located down here behind this Featherlite coach's stainless steel piece. You have a filter for your aqua hot right there. Essentially, you probably won't have to keep an eye on this. It's good once in a while, and I know this will be your first hydronic heating system. And let me tell you, it's hydronic heating systems are fantastic. Aqua hots are superb. This one runs excellently, but that is your boiler tank fluid. So essentially, quick rundown on how these work. The aqua hot is a diesel furnace system. It runs off of your diesel fuel from your main diesel fuel tank, and it burns that diesel and heats up boiler fluid, which it then cycles through multiple exchangers on the interior of the coach that provides you with furnace heat so you can heat your cabin, and it gives you hot water as well. So you can have basically unlimited hot water with this coach. I mean, you can sit in the shower for however long you want, but you have to keep an eye on your boiler fluid right there. So every once in a while, just check on it. It doesn't burn that much, but these aqua hots do burn a little. You'll have to top it off every once in a while. One other small tidbit, it's always good to make sure that shower head is flat and not protruding. You don't want to like slam this door and hit the back of it. It's just good to keep in mind. Always try to shut these doors evenly, so when they close, they are parallel with the body. I don't know, just try to give the latches the best shot they have and not to get it in there and jam it in crooked or something. They're pretty tough doors, but I like to baby things. But you can open it up using this little tab right here in the left corner of the plumbing bay. And as you can see back here, we have bus air components. And then in the middle of this bay, so behind some of this stuff right here, we have our fuel tank. That's where our fuel tank is located. And it is a 230 gallon fuel tank, so it's massive. And then this door just shuts. So there's no actual handle on the outside of this bay. So the bay that's 2 down from the plumbing bay and to the left of our bus air component bay is where you'll find some interesting stuff. So to open it, you use this little black key, and then the door comes out like this. Set that over there. This right here is part of our cruise air system. That is our generator radiator. And our generator is actually located on the other side there. And you can actually see the back of the inverters as well. So there's actually a good bit of spacing here, but it is occupied. All right, so here are 2 storage bays. And this one has your breakers. So they're all nicely labeled out. And you've got more circuit breakers on the right here. And this storage bay is the other side of the bay that has the slide out grill. And this actually comes out on both sides. So you can slide this tray out when you want to load propane tanks onto that. And you've still got some storage over there on the left. And in this bay right here, you have fuses, all kinds of stuff. Again, everything's pretty well labeled out, especially in reference to the schematic sheet. Now, this is your windshield wiper fluid here. You've got a bus air component up there. And if you unlatch this, it will drop the front bumper. I think you actually looked, I think you had that open at the show, so you already know about that. So this side right here is where we have our massive grill and a bunch of storage around it as well. And in this left compartment, we have chairs. So these say Featherlite. They're made by Zipty. So this, to operate it, you just pull this little metal tab, and then you pull this at the same time and slide it out, and it'll latch in multiple spots. So right here we have our 2 refrigerators, which are obviously both on a slide tray. So there is a breaker inside to control all the refrigerator power in the coach. We have a little sound system up here, outlets, and 2 buttons for our awnings. So those are for the Girards. And you also have 2 individual remotes. So you can operate them from either or, which is pretty nice. And on the left, we have our TV tray there, of course. So right here is our generator bay. Up above, we have our 2 inverters. So these are bypasses right here. So if you needed to do something, you could force it to do something, but normally you just leave it in normal mode, and you control all of these inverters from the inside of the bus. And of course, you have your inverter breakers right here. So right there, you have access to your air system, so you can get air pressure out of your air chuck, and you can adjust the pressure in the airbags that the generator rides on. And down below, of course, we have our generator. All right, so there's that generator. You've actually got a circuit breaker on it, so you know, if it ever trips or something, you can come out here and reset it. You can start it from in here. You can also turn the remote start off and on if you need to. You can see the hours. Get your filter right there. And I like how it tells you what fuel filter and oil filter you use. This compartment to the left of the generator bay opens again, similar to the other side, with a little tab that's in the generator bay. And then once it's open, there's a little metal tab right here, sort of in the middle of the door. And you pull that towards you like that, undoes the latch. And then you can get it out just slightly to reveal some bus air components. And over there, you can actually, I don't know what you can see, but there's access to your fuel tank, as behind these components are where your fuel tank is located. And of course, here's your other fill on the passenger side of the coach. And to go back in, there's a little metal arm here. You just have to make sure that goes up the track, and then it will slide back. Make sure you give it a good firm shut, and it's good to go. So this is the bay that's right in front of your passenger side dually. And this is where you'll find your Mach 5 Headhunter water pump. Again, breaker in the coach for that. And we've got a water spigot here. This will allow you to wash your coach or whatever. Just nice to have another water spigot. You can even have an outside shower on both sides of the coach if you wanted to hook up an outside shower to that. You've got two main inverter breakers right here. Slide out breakers, a control for your exterior lights on this side of the coach, and another electric heater, thermostatically controlled. And that is located actually right there. And you can fill your tank from this side as well. Now down below that, we have I believe these are called mana blocks. Honestly, could be using the wrong terminology, but essentially you can use, with the help of that little tool on the bottom left, you can use this to shut off water in specific areas. If you get a leak in one little spot from your plumbing system, you can cut it off so you can continue to have pressure and use your pump and the rest of the system as usual without having water coming out. So that can be nice if you run into a leak at some point, which shouldn't happen, but you never know. It's nice to have that. Now this right here is your low point drain. You can drain your water tank from here. You also have a valve that shuts off water from going through the filter and into the pump, which is pretty convenient. And there's a pressure gauge right here so you can check your water pressure and make sure it's not too high. So you've got one water filter right here before the water enters your pump, and then you have another much larger water pump right behind this piece. So those are the two water filters you're going to be wanting to change regularly. And obviously the batteries are located up above in the fender. And this bay, which is right behind the tag axle on the passenger side of the coach, has a lot more electronics. You've got battery equalizers on the right side here. We have our 24 volt and 12 volt household cutoffs. So those will kill your house batteries. So the power for all your lights and stuff like that. So top left here is your air filter. I believe that is an isolator, could be wrong. And to open up the rear hatch where the engine is, you press that. I kind of like to push it out just a little bit. And pull it from there. And the shocks are good, so it'll hold itself up once you get it all the way up. I like to make sure I go as far up as you can get. So put leverage on your side. Now back here, I'm not going to cover too much because it would be stepping too far out of my realm of knowledge. I'm pretty familiar with these, but not to the extent of a Detroit mechanic. Now over here on these Prevost buses, you've got, I wish I had a light. Oh, I do have a light with me. All right, we got a little bit of light now. So you see that airbag right back there? So that airbag will inflate with your accessory air pressure, along with this airbag right here. So if you fire your coach up, obviously I doubt really anyone out here does it, but it's advisable to not fire your coach up and just put it in drive without accessory mode air built up. And it builds up very quickly. So you'll see the little A, it'll fly up. You'll feel the chair go up, of course, with the air seat, and you'll be ready to go. But if before they're deflated, these belts can be a little sloppy. That's pretty common. That's very common on these things. You can actually release them too right here if you need to. And you can put this into a mode where you can start it from back here. This is your oil dipstick. And over here, you've got your transmission fluid dipstick. Now you can also check this dipstick as well. So this is a gearbox. So this sends power from your engine to your massive cooling fan right there. And this is new. The clutch fan is new too. It's a Prevost problem for those fan clutches to go bad. It's a recall, so it has been done on this coach. So if you lose cooling power, it's always good to come check. Hey, is this mechanism working properly? Because quite important to cooling, as I'm sure you know. I mean, I don't even need to really cover all this stuff. You have a bus already, so I mean, some of these things will transfer right over from your bus. You, I think, also have a Series 60, but only difference, I mean, there's probably a couple other differences. This is the 14 liter. I think you've got a 12.7 liter, which is, they're both great engines, but you'll have a little more power out of this coach.